Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Natalia and it feels so good to finally sit down and film a video. If you haven't been following me and don't keep up with what's going on, then you wouldn't know that I'm getting married in September and it's the end of June, and so to say that I'm freaking out is an understatement. I literally have like nowhere to film, it feels like, because my house is just filled with boxes, things for like DIY stuff for the wedding. Like, stuff is all over the place. So I apologize for this like cheap in front of my bed little thing. I promise next video it will be much better. But today I figured it would be nice to just grab a little glass of wine and hang out with you guys. While planning my wedding, have fallen down the rabbit hole on Reddit. And one thing I love reading are the Am I the Asshole posts. And so I figured it'd be fun to go through a few of them with you guys and offer my advice or what I think. Do I think that person was being an asshole? Because now, like, one thing is for sure, if I could tell myself what I know now, like while planning a wedding, if I could tell my like excited, newly engaged self everything that I know, I would probably do things a lot differently, I do have to admit. But overall, like, I just love talking about wedding stuff. Like I said, I've learned so much along the way and I'm excited to discuss this with you guys. I want you to leave your advice or your opinion in the comments down below. Let's make this interactive. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. Cheers. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about and you don't use Reddit, Reddit is obviously like a thread forum based site, and it's so funny because they have this section called Am I the Asshole, where people just post different situations of things that they go through, and they ask the question like, am I the asshole for feeling this way, for doing this? And I have certainly felt a lot of that while planning this wedding. And so I went down the rabbit hole, like I said, through the wedding section of the Am I the Asshole post, and they're so funny. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. There's so many. Let's see what we got first. Okay, so this is a good one. I definitely want everybody's opinion on this because there's so many people that feel so differently about this situation, and some of these are long, so I'm gonna read as quickly as I can. So the question is, am I the asshole for refusing to let my friend propose at my wedding? I, 27 female, am getting married at the end of the month, and my childhood best friend and maid of honor, 27 female, has asked me if she can propose to her girlfriend at my wedding. She says that it would be nice if she could get engaged at my wedding because she is with her girlfriend because of me and my partner, and it would be sweet to get engaged when we are celebrating our love and commitment to each other. Her girlfriend, this is in parentheses, her girlfriend is a university friend of my partner's and they met at our housewarming party. I told her no because it's my wedding, so she said that I was being a selfish bitch and I couldn't let her have this one good thing because I always had to make myself the center of attention. I told her no again, and that if she still wanted to propose at my wedding, she better tell me now so I can get a new maid of honor, and that she is uninvited from the wedding. She ended the call and we haven't spoken in nearly a month. My partner asked me if letting her propose at our wedding would be such a bad thing and if I'm really willing to throw away a 20+ year friendship over it. Most of our mutual friends are on my side, but some of them are telling me that I should let her have this. I feel guilty because I have been the more outgoing one in our friendship, so I tend to get most of the attention from other people. So am I the asshole? Well, this is something that I am torn over because there are two ways to look at it. So at least her maid of honor is asking, because I have heard of horror stories, and yes, I consider them horror stories, of people not asking and just doing it, just proposing, getting down on one knee in front of everybody, all the family, the friends. And to me, that's disrespectful. So at least she's being respectful by asking. But then at the same time, she's not being respectful by respecting your answer and understanding why you're saying no. It's like, it defeats the purpose of you asking if you're gonna be upset that I told you no. I don't necessarily agree with people proposing at other people's weddings unless it's okay with the bride and groom. But the reason I don't agree with it is because for me, when I got engaged, that was such a special moment that I truly wanted to celebrate with my family and friends because it was done in front of my family and friends. If I had gotten engaged, you know, on my own, just my partner and I, then that's different. I guess like that I wouldn't care so much about celebrating with people. But in the instance that I experienced, I got engaged in front of people. So when that happened, I wanted to do nothing but celebrate me and my new engagement and the fact that I'm getting married and the fact that, you know, I love my fiance and all of this. So I truly feel like that takes away from the people who are getting engaged. That takes away from their moment, the fact that they're at a wedding. Now for the bride and groom, from my perspective, and everyone throws different weddings, but I am not like throwing a cheap wedding. I know that. Like, I am having a somewhat biggish wedding with, you know, my family. I have a big family and, you know, we have a large group of friends. And so when you pay so much money and you put so much effort and so much stress and so much time, like the way I'm feeling right now, I want that night to be all about my fiance and I. I'm sorry. Like, maybe that's selfish to some people, but at the end of the day, it's my money or our money. It's our time. It's our moment. And either announcing a pregnancy or getting engaged at a wedding, to me, isn't the right thing to do. So if someone asked me if they could propose at my wedding, my answer would also be no. If I was throwing a smaller wedding, if I wasn't spending that much money and was just like doing a little get together or something a little bit more subtle, then maybe my opinion would be different. But honestly, I have to keep it real. I don't think it's a good idea to propose at people's weddings. It takes over the moment. And yes, like, if the bride and groom are okay with it, then totally fine. But me, I wouldn't be okay with it. And my problem with this situation is that the maid of honor asked and is being told no and is upset about it. Like, you have to understand why somebody would say no to you getting engaged at their wedding. Like, that's not a no-brainer. Or that is a no-brainer, I should say. So, OP, are you the asshole? I do not think so. I do not think so. They asked, you said no. Sometimes you have to understand that when you ask a question, the answer is going to be no. Like, it's not a question if you automatically assume you're supposed to be told yes. Like, sometimes you are going to be told no. So it is what it is. Next one. This is one that I can somewhat identify with. I mean, my wedding hasn't happened yet, but I had a big sweet 16. And if I could see where this is going, like, I could see where this is going. So the question is, would I be the asshole for uninviting children from my wedding that weren't actually invited? My fiance and I are getting married in August, and we were very careful to only list adult names on the invitations we addressed and sent out. We assumed people would know that meant that if your name isn't on the invitation and we didn't give a +1 or anything, that people will understand that that meant no extra people. We don't want young kids there since we are planning on an open bar, and honestly, we think we would be pretty bored. Honestly, we think they would be pretty bored and possibly hard to keep quiet. Also, we are having a smaller wedding and want to limit the guest list to people we are actually closer to. A couple of my fiance's family, his cousins, sent us back an online response for themselves, invited, and their children, not invited and not on the invitation. One of them is not quite 2 and the other one is 4. Would we be the assholes if we called his cousins and asked them to please find a babysitter? In a nice way, of course. We realized it's kind of our fault for not saying explicitly on the invitation that young children were not invited. These are the updates. I'll read you the update in a moment. But just for that first part, are you the asshole for asking for there to be no children at your wedding? No, you are not. I am asking for no children to be at my wedding. The only children would be my stepdaughter, my ring bearer, and my flower girl. Because One is, of course, the money aspect. You're paying for extra people. Two, kids run around. Kids are gonna be kids. Kids are gonna cry. Kids are gonna laugh. Kids are gonna yell. They're gonna do kid things. And too many times I've been to ceremonies where they've been interrupted by children, or you're dancing on the dance floor and they're running around and you're tripping over them. Like, So you're still not an asshole if you call them back and ask them to find a babysitter, but it is very important to put on the invitation that you do not want any kids. The reason being is that people will assume. People, unless told, will bring their kids or will try to bring a +1. That's what it is. I had a big sweet 16, and even though on the invitation we put no kids, some of my family thought it was cute to show up with kids, even kids that are aged to be in a stroller. Like, they brought a stroller. Completely inappropriate and unacceptable and disrespectful if people put it on the invitation. I didn't put mine on the invitation. I have a separate RSVP card. All I put were kindly please respect our wishes for a child-free reception, because I realized I didn't put it on my invitation, and I was like, wait a second, let me do it the right way and let people know, because you're telling them up front. And then on top of that, the way that I'm doing my RSVPs is with people logging in to our wedding website, and they're logging into our wedding website and then they're typing in their names and they see who they are RSVPing for, so who they're paired with, basically. So if it's a family of 2 or 3, then it's them. So no, it is totally within your right to ask for there to be no children at the reception or at the ceremony, at the entire wedding. And if people aren't going to respect that, then you know that they don't respect you. I'm sorry. When you send out an invitation and you give people 2-3 months to figure it out, to find a babysitter, it's either that or you don't go. I'm sorry. Like, you don't have to go if you are going to have to be with young kids like that, 2 and 4, come on. And then the parents aren't going to be able to fully enjoy the wedding because they're going to be, attending to their kids. Like, you want everyone to have a good time. You're paying for everyone to have a good time. And if you wish to not have kids at your wedding, then that is totally okay. I'm sorry if I'm selfish or being a bitch for not wanting kids at my wedding, but that's just how it is. Like, when you're paying a lot of money, you make the decisions, and that's it. So the update is, it says, final update, my fiance called his cousin and it turns out their family was already planning a destination wedding at the coast that lines up with our beach wedding. They already planned for that, so they will not be able to get a babysitter. They're planning on hanging out to the side during the ceremony and staying only briefly for our reception since they have their own trip planned. Oh, okay, so I missed that part. That was a separate update. So they're having like a beachfront wedding, and I guess the family is also going to that destination, and they're gonna like be at the wedding for like a little while. Okay, that's not so bad. I mean, if they're planning a family trip, they're planning a family trip, but you wouldn't have been an asshole if you would have made them find a babysitter. That's it. Okay, so last one. Am I the asshole for talking about one daughter's potential wedding at my other daughter's birthday dinner? We had a birthday dinner for my single daughter. My other daughter has a serious boyfriend for 7 years, while not engaged yet, seems to be headed in that direction. My single daughter is quiet and introverted. Other daughter is more conversational. She is upset with us and hasn't spoken to us in almost a month because she claims we spent the whole dinner talking about her sister's potential wedding and she felt left out / unimportant, and that her sister hijacked her birthday dinner. I admit we did get carried away and did spend the majority of the dinner discussing this, but since she's kind of quiet, it's more difficult to engage her in conversation, but we were not being intentionally cruel. Do I deserve to be estranged with my daughter over this? Am I the asshole? Yes, you are an asshole. Listen, I mean, whenever there's wedding planning going on, or in this case, potential wedding planning going on, it's fun and it's great to be excited and talk about it. I know my friends are probably sick of me talking about it, to be honest, but I do think that there has to be that little level of awareness where if you know that maybe talking about this is like a soft spot for someone else, or if someone recently is going through a breakup or is still single and really lonely, like sometimes you have to be a little bit like more aware, unless that person is actively engaging and wanting to ask questions and be a part of it and like offer help and all that stuff like that. But in this case, if the daughter doesn't talk that much, it's her birthday, you guys are out celebrating, and all you talk about is your other daughter potentially getting married and your other daughter this, your other daughter that, then 100% I can totally see why your other daughter, your daughter who's celebrating her birthday, is feeling left out and feeling like, you know, you guys don't care about her. Like, that's a little rude to do, to be at someone else's celebration talking about something else that has nothing to do with them, like over excessively. You know, it's one thing if it's mentioned, if it's laughed about, if it's, you know, even like a decent conversation, but to spend the entire night talking about that, I can see how that can be perceived as rude. And I don't know if I would necessarily just not talk to my parents about it. I would definitely talk to them and make them understand why I feel the way that I feel. We don't know if she did that, but that would be my suggestion. That's the way to go. You always want to talk things out, guys. Like, conversation is the key to fixing issues and fixing problems. Fixing problems. So make sure you talk it out. That's pretty much it, guys, for today's video. I've been wanting to do these like with Brian too. Like, I think that would be a lot of fun, or with like my bridesmaids and all of that. I think that would be like a fun thing to do over a few drinks, or like mukbang style or something, because you can literally, like I said, fall down the rabbit hole really reading all of these, and they're so interesting. And I think especially like with my fiance Brian, it would be really interesting to see his perspective on some things that maybe haven't necessarily come up between us about our wedding, or how he would handle a certain situation. So if you guys do want to see that, please give this video a big thumbs up, as well as leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about the instances that I mentioned. And yeah, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye. It's all the same, highs and lows, highs and lows. Keep all your game, highs and lows.